Okay, so let's talk about tuning in a different manner. We've so far worked on tuning by ear. We've also used an electronic device to aid with tuning, and both of those ways are just fine. Here is a different way to tune by ear, and what you do is you use one string to get it in tune to tune up the rest of your instrument. You've probably seen professionals do this, and it's a very quick way of doing it. You can usually get it done in about 30 seconds or less, but it does take practice. It takes a lot of practice because we're working on our hearing skills. And so let's see how this goes. So if you're in a room where maybe you're in a quartet or an orchestra, you'll have somebody playing first violin, the concertmaster maybe, or maybe if you're in a full orchestra, an oboe player will give an A. And the A will sound like this. Okay, so you take that A and you tune yours accordingly. Well, I can tell right away this A string's a little bit lower than what I had playing right there. So let's do this again, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring my cello over to my right side, and that frees up my left hand to move my fine tuners, and I can bow and play at the same time. I can make my adjustments. So it'll sound like this now. There's the A. Cello's on the right side. I reach over with my left and I start bowing very quietly. Head is flat. Can you hear the difference of pitch? Now that to me sounds a lot better. I'm going to double check that against this tuner just to be sure. And it's pretty well good to go. Excellent. So what we're going to do now is, since I have my A string in tune, I'm going to tune my D off of that, tune the G off of the D, and tune my C string off of my G. So one right after another. So A's in tune. I stay on the right side once my A is in tune. Play very softly. You can hear that those two really don't agree very well. When you're turning the fine tuner, you're looking for an agreement between the A and the D in this case. They're not going to match pitch, but they should go together. So to me that sounds a lot better. Here's your D and your G. Very flat. See how much better that sounds. They go together now. And then the G and the C. Now that illustrates the point that when something's really out of tune, you will hear a wavering or maybe beats or pulsation. Listen again. Hear that? Yeah, 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 yeah. That's what you want to take away, that fuzzy sound. So I'm going to turn my fine tuner until that goes away. By the way, this C string is very sharp. And so I'm going to loosen it until it is in agreement with the G. So I hope that you can hear the difference. Now, sometimes when you're in an orchestra, in a big ensemble like that, you have a lot of people tuning at once and it's harder to hear, especially with the low instruments like a cello. So there's another way you can do this, and that is using your harmonics. Okay, you divide the string in half, just lightly touch it, and that makes it easier to hear because suddenly everything's an octave higher. Especially your first note. So when the concertmaster gives this note, you're now in the same range as the concertmaster, the same octave. The only disadvantage to that is you can't turn your fine tuners and play the harmonic at the same time. You have to do one of these. But that's okay. Now the next step, once that A is in tune, I go to the D string, but instead of the D harmonic, I play the harmonic in fourth position. And it ought to be the same pitch, but it sounds to me like they're a little bit off. Yeah, that D is rather sharp. Much better now. All right, and I'll do the same D to G. And then do the same with the G string to the C. And so there's another quick way to do that, especially if there's a lot of extra sounds in the room. Just having things an octave higher makes it a lot easier to hear, and you can make those quick adjustments. So I hope this has helped you out. Happy tuning. Take your time with it. Don't get frustrated if you don't get it right away. It will take some practice, but it's another tool in your toolbox when it comes to being able to tune your instrument.